Ari Goldman is a professor of journalism at Columbia University. He was a reporter for the New York Times for close to 2 decades.
My beat was religion, and I would often do stories about Crown Heights and about the Rebbe. And I can't say that I got to know him well, but I did have several encounters with him. At that time in his life, he wasn't doing one-on-one interviews, what the Lubavitch called yichidus. I couldn't get, an interview with him one-on-one, but we had encounters on a Sunday. He would just open his doors and let people in not by the hundreds, but by the thousands. And that's a lot of people going through his house and later through the 770.
The Washington from the New York Times is a photographer.
God Almighty bless you. Be successful.
It's a go-go sometimes, Ari Goldman. Mr. Goldman. Ari.
If you edit new work for the good of Jews, I'll be very happy.
Okay, and I've got. He was a very worldly man and cared a lot about the state of people in different parts of the world. And when I would see him, he would sort of comment on the New York Times and on my articles. And there was one article where I wrote about Judeo-Christian values. And I got a call from Rabbi Krinsky, who was the Rebbe's secretary, who said, the Rebbe asked me to call you to clarify something. He said, why do you only write about Jews and Christians? It's really Judeo-Christian Muslim values. But he had that kind of view that he was a leader of the Jewish community, but I think he saw that he had a message for the world and for, beliefs beyond Judaism. Once Ruby Washington, a fellow journalist from the New York Times, the photographer, came with me. She was an African-American woman who was taking photos of the Rebbe. And as I was talking to him, again, not in his office, but we were talking as he was getting into the car. And he had a habit of giving out dollars, giving out money to his followers and to other people who wanted a blessing from the Rebbe. The way that the Rebbe would encounter them was to give them some charity that they should then give in turn to other people. And he reached into his pocket and he gave some money to Ruby. And I explained to her that he was inspiring you to do a mitzvah, to do a good deed. And at the end, when he got in the car, he said, Happy New Year. It was around the time of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, and it was a nice greeting. But later that day, I got a call from Rabbi Krinsky, who said, the Rebbe asked me to call you. He wanted to be sure that when I was wishing you a Happy New Year, it wasn't just to you, but it was also to Ruby Washington. On the Jewish New Year, we pray not only for Jews, but we pray for all people, pray for her as well. So this idea that the sensitivity that he had toward Jews and toward every Jew, but I think toward all people, was sort of evident to me in a lot of those encounters.